Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are so excited to have you here tonight. My name is Jessica Wagner. I am joined tonight by Jessica and Josh Halls. It says Brooke Hemingway, but that's who they are. And we are really, really excited to share with you tonight about Plexus Business from a healthcare provider perspective. Okay, so I am an MD. Josh is a nurse practitioner. Jess is a nurse. And so we're going to just share our stories and how this business has changed literally everything in our lives. But it started first with the products because none of us were looking for a business, right? We all were very happy with our jobs. Well, I don't know, very happy with our jobs, but we were content doing what we had worked so hard to do. So I wanted to be a pediatrician since I was in fifth grade at career day, and that's what I was doing. And I was like, all I want is to be a pediatrician and a mom. And I was doing that until 2016 when I was on maternity leave with my fourth baby. I had four kids in 6 years. So I was pregnant nursing or both for 10 years straight. And I was tired all the time. I thought I would be exhausted for the rest of my life. I was living on sugar to stay awake during the day, and then I couldn't fall asleep at night. I was overweight, inflamed, headaches, calf cramps. I was a totally healthy person by Western medical standards with no medical diagnoses, but I was walking around feeling like garbage. And I was like, is this it? Like, is this just what it is to work full time and have four little kids? And like, okay, I thought it would be better than this. And so at that point in time, I decided I need to make some changes in my health. I had been learning about gut health through continuing medical education courses for a few years at that point in time. My husband and two of my kids have celiac disease. I have two kids with food allergies. And that's what started my gut health journey, because really all I learned in medical school about the gut was that it was really helpful for your nutrition and digestion, right? But since then, since probably the early 2010s decade, Western medicine has caught on to the fact that there's way more about our gut than we ever realized. And so, in very reputable medical journals every single month now, there are great articles about the microbiome and something else. So, how it relates to some body function, because honestly, your gut microbiome has an influence on every system in your body. And the Western medicine world is just learning that, but the Eastern medicine world has known that for a really long time. So we're catching up in the Western medicine world. But basically, my story started because I just really wanted to feel better. And once I started feeling better, when I started, I committed to 90 days. I was like, I don't need your 7-day trial pack. I know that I will feel nothing in 7 days. That was wrong, actually. But I committed to 90 days because I know that's how long it takes for us to really start to see cell turnover and healing. Everyone is going to notice some benefit, at least one benefit in the first 90 days of healing your gut, but you're going to see more benefits the longer you're on them. So as I committed to that, I was like, but I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell my husband that I ordered these products. I just want to feel better. I looked at every single ingredient before I started taking these products because that's what you do as a researcher, right? You look into things. Although I will say this with true honesty, I never once looked at the ingredients of the Oreos that I was eating every single night before bed, of the Skittles in my desk drawer, of all of those kind of things. But for some reason, right, we're taught to be very skeptical of vitamins. And so I started those products. I started to change my health. And then I was like, oh, wow, this is something that every human needs. And Western medicine doesn't have this. There are holes in Western medicine. I love Western medicine. I'm Western medicine trained as they come. Western medicine saved my life when I was in real bad shape with my third baby, saved his life. And that's the reason I'm still here. So I'm so grateful for that. Western medicine is really good at acute care. Not so great for wellness. And there are big holes there. And that is what I found through supplementation, was it filled those holes. So when I started feeling better, I was like, this is the secret to all my patients who have normal labs and they still feel gross. And I couldn't ever tell them an answer before. I couldn't help them before. And now I have another way that I can help them. So I was really careful with my doctor-patient relationship to not step over boundaries and not take a financial advantage from that. But I started telling everyone. I started telling my family and friends. I was like, if you don't feel good, I got an answer for you. Like, this can help you feel good. And then all of a sudden I was getting a paycheck and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of fun. And then the paycheck was big enough to make to pay for my kids to play sports. Okay. And then the paycheck was big enough to start paying my student loan payment every month. And then the payment was big enough that I could pay my mortgage and my student loan payment every month. And then my paycheck was big enough that I was able to buy a bigger house while still paying the mortgage on my existing house for 9 months. So I had no intention of starting a business when I started this. I just wanted to feel better. And then I wanted other people to feel better. But what I want you to hear me say is that what this provided me was options. Because in 2021, in June of 2021, I actually stepped away from my full-time medical practice and went to a PRN status, which all of you healthcare workers will know what PRN is, but if you're not a healthcare worker, it means as needed, which means that I don't have a set schedule. I don't have set hours. I am not a slave to anyone else's schedule anymore. I still work as a physician. I cover like 6 to 8 shifts a month in the pediatric urgent care. I help out in my old clinic every now and again when they're very shorthanded so that the doctors can get a break and take vacation. I still round in the newborn nursery every now and again, but I do all of it on my terms. And if I can say yes, I will. If it's a no because of my family has something going on, I don't feel bad saying no because I created that opportunity to give myself some flexibility. So really the message that we want you to hear today is we're not telling anyone that they need to quit their job or quit healthcare and do this business, right? That's not what I want anyone to hear me say today. What I want you to hear is that if you are finding yourself burned out in healthcare, which is where I 100% was, and I know so many of my colleagues are, that I had the option to make a change. And it brought back my love of medicine. It brought back the opportunity for me to love what I do again. And that is priceless. What it also allowed me is it allowed me to be the vice president at the PTA at my kids' school for 2 years in a row. I was getting to the point where I was like, I want to be more involved in my kids' lives. I don't want to miss their gymnastics lessons or piano recitals or soccer games. I don't want to miss every awards ceremony at school. I don't want to miss those things anymore. And I had to miss a lot of that every little program at school I couldn't be to. But when you work from home, you have that ability to shift your schedule around and make those kind of things happen so that you can feel like you're living in alignment. So that is my story of how a Plexus business gave me freedom to choose. And that right there, if you are at all feeling burned out in your job, you need to at least consider having an option, because I can't even tell you how many of my colleagues and former colleagues and people that I've worked with that are like, I wish I had the option to do what you're doing. And I was like, you can do this with me. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to do supplements. Some of them are very skeptical. And I'm like, well, listen, if you want options, they're out there. You just have to be willing to say, like, be open-minded. That's really it. Be open-minded and look at something else. So that's my story. I am so excited for you now to hear Jess share her story. And then we are going to let Josh talk a little bit too. I have some questions for you, Josh. So stay tuned.
I am so excited to be here. And honestly, Jessica, everything that you just shared, like you're singing to me because I'm like, I can relate to a lot of it and so much. But at the same time, like it was time freedom that I was after and I did not know it while I was in it. And I know that kind of sounds confusing, but in a nutshell, for those that do not know who I am or this guy right here, and it's a treat to have him here. He was not part of the invite, but we kind of added him in last minute because he was home and he was available. And he's a huge part of my story, both health and business. And I'm grateful for that. And I can only imagine, well, you guys assuming what our conversations look like on a daily basis. A lot of it is medical talk and advocating for health and wellness. And he is a huge part of seeing me heal from the inside out. So I'm so glad he's here. But I am Jess. I live in here in Utah. I have 4 kids. I've been in the medical field for about 20 years. I currently work 4 days a month. But before Plexus, I was working, full time. And honestly, at that time, you guys, we only saw each other, what, 4 days a month? I would work and then I'd pass the kids off to the husband while I was working, and then we would just kind of flip flop, and we never saw each other. We were always, one of us was always working a holiday, nights, weekends, and we were just exhausting ourselves. And at that time, he was a nurse. And so we both had a different nurse's schedule, and our kids really had to balance mom and dad always being solo because the other one was always working. But adding in all of that, I started to feel physically sick. I became the patient I learned about in nursing school. I swore that I would never become that patient. And sadly enough, you guys, Western medicine failed me. At the time, I was 31 years old. I was taking 30 plus medications. I was physically exhausted, going to physician after physician. I was married to a medical professional as well, and we would self-diagnose. If you don't know this, if you're not a medical professional, nurses make the worst patients because we self-diagnose, and we have a relationship with a lot of the doctors that we're seeing. So I would go to these doctors and I'd be like, there is something wrong with me. Like, I will not leave this office until you tell me what is wrong with me. And I finally hit a breaking point after weeks and months and even years searching for answers, being told that I looked normal on paper. I did not feel normal in an everyday life, and I was emotionally and mentally just taxed. I remember coming home right before I ordered my products, which, by the way, you guys, I was very skeptical at first. And I still remember having those feelings of like, I am so tired of feeling this way, but I'm going to try something new. And it was actually this guy that was like, the definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I was doing that. I was doing the Western medicine, the only world that I knew. And I still advocate for Western medicine, but in a healthy balance. And when you balance both holistic healing and Western medicine, beautiful things can happen. So I started these products, and within 5 months, yes, you guys, 5 months, it wasn't 2-day Amazon Prime or even 2 weeks of shipping. It took my body time, but I had to remember it took my body 31 years to get to where it was at. And it was going to take time for my body to heal. And even 5 years now of taking these products, I'm still seeing and feeling changes, which is really, really cool as you understand that it takes a long time for our microbiome to heal. And our microbiome is our gut. We have 10 million times the cells in our gut than what make up the entire human bodies. That's a lot of cell and a lot of regeneration of healthy new cells. So 5 months into the products, I kept taking the products, and you guys, I didn't tell anybody. The only people that knew that I was taking these products were some of my friends that watched my kids a lot because I did not feel well prior to this, and then my husband. My parents did not know. Some of my close friends did not know because I was skeptical. But guess what? During those 5 months, guess who came off all of my medications? I am medication free, and I did that with the discretion of my doctor. So if you are listening to this call and you are on medications, this is all through the discretion of your doctor and supervision of your physician. But I have not seen a doctor for my autoimmune. I am a celiac warrior. I have not seen a doctor in 5 years. I've been able to bring our rainbow baby here. I struggled with infertility for many, many months and years. And now we have our rainbow baby here, and I am thriving more than I ever thought I could thrive. And I'm now 37. So it's really cool to look back over the many years of Western medicine mind and being able to take off those blinds and really be open to holistic and Eastern medicine. And ironically enough, you guys, I was not looking for a business. I was working full time again. I'm going to repeat this. We were flip-flopping schedules. I never saw my spouse. We never traveled. We never got to do anything because we were working. We were burning ourselves out. We were falling out of love, really. If I look back at that, I'm like, we were roommates and just taking care of these 4 humans. And that was our coexistence of seeing each other was through our children. But this business opportunity fell into my lap, and I don't mean that lightly. As I started to feel better, I had lots of family and friends who knew me and knew that I was struggling, ask me what I was doing differently. And I started to open my mouth. And within that time, I was able to help start a lot of my close family and friends on these products who are still taking these products. And I always knew since I was 5 years old that I wanted to take care of others, that I wanted to help people. And I get to do that. And the most beautiful part about this business opportunity is I get to see them cross the finish line. As a nurse, I only get to see them come through the door or come through home care, which is what I do a few times a month. I don't get to see the finish line of what they do to achieve their health goals. And with Plexus, I've been able to do that because I've been able to form really healthy relationships with these wonderful people that I've met through social media or my community, family, and friends, even my husband, who didn't think he needed the products, and now he's more passionate about it than I am. You guys, this is a guy that's never taken a Tylenol in probably 10 years. So it was really cool to see him thrive from the inside out when he doesn't have autoimmune, when he doesn't have chronic illness. He thought he was a healthy, active guy, which he is. But it's really cool to see the effects of everybody needs gut health. Disease starts in the gut. And like I said, we have millions and millions of cells that get affected from antibiotic therapy, hormone therapy, all of these things. Even the microwave can affect your microbiome. The foods that we're eating, the Skittles that are in Jessica's office drawers, they affect our microbiome. And so it's so crucial. And so as I was opening my mouth, this business opportunity really opened time and financial freedom. They are completely different. I was able to start cutting back my hours at work, going from full-time to PRN. Like Jessica said, I only work 1 day a week. I get to work from home, and that's a huge blessing in my life. But I have not missed a soccer game, a dance recital, a piano recital. I have not missed being on the sidelines of my kids in 5 years. You guys, I get goosebumps thinking about that because there were many times, and I get emotional every time I talk about this, but my husband would send me a Marco Polo for months and months and years of me not being at the sideline. I got to watch through a Marco Polo. And so now that I get to be at the sidelines and I get to watch my daughter look at the sidelines and see not just her mom sitting there, but her dad too, and we're both at the same game cheering them on, just it opens an entire different gateway of being a parent and having the financial freedom to pay for the things that this life demands. It is expensive to live, and you know that it takes multiple incomes of residual income too to provide a life of not just making the bills or surviving the bills or making and living paycheck to paycheck. I've been there. Even as 2 full-time registered nurses, we were living paycheck to paycheck. In fact, we were in debt, lots of money because of my medical issues. So yes, I have found healing, not just medically with my physical, mental, and emotional health, but I have found financial freedom and healing as well, because financial burden can cause medical issues as well. And so it's been really cool to not only be able to cut back my hours and also bring all of my medical friends with me. I have a lot of nurses on board and pharmacists on board and nurse practitioners, which he is part of that. And just a different variety of medical professionals advocate for these products because these products sell themselves. And that is the one beauty I love about these products is they are science. They're backed by science, and I am evidence proof. I'm walking proof of that they really do target root healing. And this is where he kind of comes in, because since then, and I don't know if Jessica's already going to ask this question, but in the last 5 years, my husband has completely shifted his practice and advocating and prescribing to his patients that he sees every day to a holistic approach, because he got to see me heal from the inside out. And so I will let him just share for a few minutes. I know we're kind of, getting to the end of this call, but I want him to kind of share your thoughts as well.
All right. I've got
Give me 1 second first, Josh.
Yeah, you're fine.
So I just had to say, I will, first of all, I was like goosebumps head to toe when Jess was talking, because I was like, that is truly what it's all about. Like, if you, like, what are you missing? What are you missing because of what your full-time medical career is doing for you right now? It's amazing that you can help so many people and that you can make a paycheck that's providing for your family. But what are you missing because of that? And when you think about those things, like, what is it that you wish you could be a part of that you're not? That's what this can provide. Listening to Jess talk about those soccer games, me being able to be like at every single school event. I know some parents are like, PTA sounds like the worst thing in the mat they can imagine, but that I was like, my heart was longing to be more involved in my kids' education and their classrooms and their school experience, and being able to be there for those things. So I just want you to think about that. And then Josh, I am so excited to hear your story, but I also want to hear, I don't know if you heard Jess say, like, he was a nurse when she started all of this. Now he's a nurse practitioner, which means he went back to school and got an advanced degree so that he could do this. But most people who go into a nurse practitioner program, they end up working at a hospital or a doctor's office, right? And so, Josh, I hope that as part of your story, you will tell us what you are doing with your degree, because it is phenomenal. And again, the message here is not that you have to quit your job or leave healthcare. It's just that you get choice. That is what doing a business like this, because you can do this business in the nooks and crannies of your day. I built and just built 6-figure a year businesses while working full time in our medical careers. So my husband, I didn't mention this, my husband was a stay-at-home dad. So I was the only income provider in my home. And at this point, still largely Emmett, although he just decided this past year that he wanted to do something for himself now that all of our kids are in school. And so he got certified to be a loan officer. He actually bought into a company. And so he's now an owner broker and doing mortgages. So he now gets that opportunity to do that. We wouldn't have been able to do that. But when he was like, I think I need to go, I just want to get a job just so I have something. And I was like, here's your number one criteria. You are not allowed to have a 9-to-5. We will not be tied to anyone else's schedule. So he works from home. He owns part of that business too. And it's because of the value that we have found in time freedom. And so that's all I have to say. And then Josh.
That's the cool thing.
Yes.
Is I get to choose my nights. I get to choose my holidays. I get to choose when I work my weekends, which is really cool because for a long time, they chose for me. And that's the one thing with financial and time freedom is I don't have to live by what they want me to do. I get to do it from the sidelines, from carpool, from the park, from my bed. Like I love that I get to help people, which I've always wanted to do and love doing, but do it on my timetable. So I love that. But sorry, go ahead.
You're fine.
Okay, I'm excited to hear Josh's story of what he got to choose. You guys, you got to pay attention. Listen to this.
I've got a ton of things running around in my head because you ladies brought such good information. The first one I want to say is I do love Western medicine. There is a time and a place for Western medicine. There are great, just like Jessica said, there are things that saved her life with Western medicine, right? I like to think of Western medicine as an ambulance down in the valley. There was a city that was in the valley and above it was a huge cliff. And the people would go look at the cliff all the time and people kept falling off. And the people got together and they said, hey, let's put an ambulance down in the valley so when they fall, we can take them and rush them to the hospital and save their life. Well, people were like, that's a great idea. But then this old man said, no. Let's put a fence around the edge of the cliff so no one falls off. And that to me is Eastern medicine. Using supplementation to aid your body in getting it back to its roots, to where it's healthy. And I think of medications as a bridge. So as I was studying and as I went back to school, I saw my wife struggling with her health. And we're saying, what in the world could be causing these issues? What is making her so sick? And why can't we solve the problem? Prednisone tapers, after steroid after steroid after steroid after antibiotic, and nothing touching what's going on with this chronic inflammatory response that we all face. 88% of the population is chronically inflamed. So that's everybody. You know, we all, from the food we eat, get chronically inflamed. And the more I've studied medicine as a nurse practitioner with my patients or with wanting to know more and dive deeper, the more and more I've wanted to put a fence around the edge of the cliff for everybody that I talk to. Even my patients I still take care of. I take care of patients that are geriatric. They're all 65 years and older. My goal with them is not to get them healthy again, because they're never going to be 45 and healthy. Their bodies are declining. They are, and so what I saw when I was taking care of these patients and what I saw in people my age is that there's just a big disconnect in how healthy we are trying to make the end of our lives. And so as I saw Jessica get on these supplements, that more so put a fence around the edge of the cliff for us to prevent disease, I started doing a lot more research. Well, why would we want to do that instead of these medications we're using? I believe medications are a bridge when we are in the sickest part of our lives to get healthy. So I decided to team up with a PA friend of mine, and we started doing hair analysis, where we would take people's hair and look at how exactly our bodies were pushing the minerals, the vitamins, the things that we're eating and breaking down in our gut, and how that's shipping out to the rest of our body. Because we really don't get to see that in medicine. We see the blood work. We can see how well the kidneys are functioning, how well the heart is functioning, how well the lungs are functioning, but we really don't get to see the tissue of the heart and how it's absorbing minerals and using them to make the heart stronger. So with this hair analysis, we started to see that we're starting to see a disconnect between the blood work and what the hair is actually showing. So I have a patient that comes to me and their blood work shows their B vitamins are extremely high, but their hair is actually deficient in B vitamins. Well, why is that? Right? So they might have a genetic mutation called MTHFR. So then we know we just got to get them on the correct supplements, the right vitamins to help the body finish transitioning these B vitamins into absorbable B vitamins. Because our body, everything we eat has to get absorbed through the gut, has to either be methylated or changed just a little bit so the body can actually use those minerals, those vitamins. Every food we eat has minerals and vitamins in it that our body's actually supposed to absorb and use to make us healthy. And if that gut is deficient in any way, autoimmune, eating sugar, eating complex carbohydrates, which in America, everybody eats, but they're full of preservatives, they're full of pesticides, they're full of sugar to make them taste better, or high fructose corn syrup to make it addictive. All those things affect our gut in a way that make them less efficient. And so as I started doing more studies, I started finding, like Plexus, we have great supplements that help our body. But if you are a healthcare professional that really care about getting people healthy, then it's got to be a deeper dive than just Western medicine. You can't do it on Western medicine alone. It has to be a combined effort, just like everything we do in our life, right? If you are a healthcare professional and someone comes to you, you ask them the first 3 questions should be, what are you eating? Are you sleeping? And are you exercising? And if you're not doing those things because your gut's not healthy, then we've got to dive deeper and say, well, why is the gut not working properly? And there's no, just like Jessica said, there's no medication really that we can give someone and says your gut will work really well after taking this medication. There isn't one, because the gut is so understudied. Because the heart, we know just about everything about the heart. There's not a lot about the heart that's a mystery, but the gut is still a huge mystery, because we have people still with IBS, with Crohn's, with chronic inflammation of the intestinal tract. And if that intestinal tract is inflamed in any way, you're not absorbing anything. So you probably have diarrhea or you have constipation. And again, as I became a healthcare professional, as a nurse practitioner, I wanted to help people be healthy and get their health back to where they're saying, I can get off my 30 medications. I can show up for my kids. And to be honest, I share Plexus even now and supplements with every patient. Even my geriatric patients I take care of, I bring up supplements every time. I get them all on an omega-3 fatty acid, which Plexus provides, a fully methylated multivitamin, which Plexus also provides. Plexus has the tools to help people at any age put a fence around that edge of the cliff so that we can stay healthy. And we've started to see it more and more with these hair analysis as we get people on these correct products and they start feeling better. And what happens when you taste something that's so good? You want to share it with everybody. And as you share it with people, they dive into how excited you are about the products. They want what you have because you are excited, you're feeling good, you are having energy, and those things people will be attracted to that like a honeybee to a honey, because everybody wants a piece of that and they don't know where to find it because they're still so skeptical about supplements. But the more and more we study supplements, you just got to tell people too, the only way to really know if a supplement's worth taking is you got to try it for yourself, because or listen to how people have taken them. I have and I'll end on this. I have a 96-year-old patient, and to this day, every time I see him, he does squats for me. How many 96-year-olds can do squats? And I go, you're the only one. And so I asked him one day, well, what's your secret? He goes, 30 years ago, I started taking a probiotic and my life's never been the same since. And I looked in his pantry or his medicine cabinet in his bathroom. Legit, he had 5 bottles of this same probiotic and it has changed my life for the better. And now he's 96. He's the only guy I see walking outside in the facility, and he's reading a book every morning on the bench. So again, supplementation, selling Plexus, it fell into our lap. We didn't want to sell it, but it just became something that we started telling people about because we wanted them to feel how we feel.
Yes, yes. So what I love about this is, honestly, this is the thing too, is other people you might lump all of this like multi-level marketing and whatever in one thing and be like, that's not for me, I'm a healthcare worker. But when you have products that actually work, they legitimately sell themselves, right? So you just heard Josh talk about the value of these products, and you heard Jess's story and my story of literally just feeling like I came alive again. So to just circle all the way back to the beginning of my story, within 3 days, my sugar cravings were gone. I stopped eating the Skittles. I stopped eating the Oreos. My body like wanted vegetables. Okay. Within a week and a half, I got off the daily stool softeners that I had been on for 7 years. Within 3 months, I had lost 12 pounds. I hadn't had a headache at all. Like, I couldn't remember the last time I took Tylenol or ibuprofen, which I was taking all the time. I didn't need my gas pills in my pocket anymore. I didn't need the Benadryl. I didn't had a pharmacy in a bottle, right? Like my little mixture of all the things. Within the first 3 months, I slept better. My energy level improved. I started moving. I literally felt like I came alive. And that's when I had to tell everyone about it. So although I had zero intentions of building a business, I will never stop helping people because that's what I've been called to do. I know that I was put on this planet to be a healer. And for me, I thought that meant I needed to go to medical school. So that's what I did. And I do that in so many ways through Western medicine, but I do it in so many more ways with a broader scope when you add in supplements that address root causes and actually help people heal and help people feel alive. So to all of you healthcare workers out there, no matter what field of medicine you are in, if you are a physical therapist, a pharmacist, a athletic trainer, a doctor, a nurse practitioner, an EMT, whoever you are, don't stop doing what you're doing, but consider possibly feeling healthier yourself and then helping those around you feel healthier. Get out of the rut of feeling stuck, like you only have one solution and it's not working, because there are so many more solutions out there. And maybe, just maybe, when you start talking to people, they're going to start talking to people and they're going to start talking to the people. And all of a sudden you have a paycheck that matches the one that you were already making. And then you get to choose.
Or more.
And that is what it's all about. It is all about to choose. Thank you so much for being here. As you can tell, we are quite passionate about this and could talk about it for probably forever. We are going to respect your time and wrap it up. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. If you have questions, please reach out to the person who invited you here, to the person who sent you the recording. They can always get in touch with us as well so that we can offer that perspective. But there are so many more stories like ours. We are not unique in this business. There are so many people who are experiencing the same benefit. And to any of you who are working full-time in fields outside of healthcare, I know we have at least one teacher on this call, and I know the teachers are feeling the same. The teachers are feeling a lot of that same burnout, and they just want the freedom to choose. And this business, literally send it to anyone you know who works full-time, who's complains about working and being a slave to their schedule. They need to hear this message because there is choice. There is options out there, and we have products that work. They are literally body changing. They will change every body into the way that body was created to be. And they can bring you financial and time freedom and just opportunities to choose. So thank you. We will stop the recording now, but we will stick around for just a few minutes to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you. Jess.